So,
Well,
what you got? There's something hanging on the wall.
something hanging on the
me.
wall. So I'm not going to tell you the color part of the story because I want you to look behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And down in the comments below, I want you to say what color you think those pants are. And it'd be interesting if we went live again at nighttime
And see if they look different.
see what they look like. But it's lunchtime here, so and it's actually sunny outside. So But anyway, this is like a continuation of last week, and because we did finally get them back, and we just on this one we're just refunded them and ate the shipping both ways and moved on. But if you've done returns in the past, you might just get into this routine of, click, make a statement, you're done kind of deal.
Refund, and it's listed.
And it used to be that it would immediately always relist.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started running into a situation where sometimes it would relist and sometimes it would not relist. And so in that scenario, I had to go looking for it. Gratefully, it would put it in the drafts, and I could just go there and find it. And if I needed to make an adjustment or whatever, I did, and then I could hit list. But this is where the buyer said it was not as described. So in that scenario, I knew this was the case, but I had forgotten how hard it is to find it. And so what happens when it's not as described, eBay looks at it like you didn't describe it right, so the last thing we're going to do is relist it for you. And so they just don't do anything. And if you're in this hurry and you just click the buttons to give somebody a refund and move on, you might, in your head, think that it relisted it, which is kind of what I was thinking.
Expecting.
And then we had not put them back into inventory yet. They were still sitting on the table. And it dawned on me, oh, hang on. And I went back and checked active listings and it wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And I checked drafts and it wasn't there. So if you have a big store, and we're not a big store, but we have about a little over 2,500 listed. If you have a decent sized store and you've got a hurried lifestyle, you may think that you relisted those and you might have put them back up in your inventory and all that kind of stuff and moved on, and they're not listed. And you're not going to find them in the drafts. So where do you find them?
In order to relist them again, I probably would go back to the returns folder.
Yeah. So
and locate the item, locate the old listing.
And you would think it'd be that easy, but there's a couple of steps, and somebody ought to make a proper video. I'm going to quit saying I'm going to make them.
Somebody else needs to, because it ain't happening.
Yeah, but I might one day just do a quick proper video on this. But under sell, there's orders.
Mm-hmm.
Under orders, there's returns.
Okay.
Under returns, there's a status drop down that you can go to.
Okay.
Because
Like,
there's different levels of returns.
Okay.
Some
like
of it means
completed
means it's just now activated. Different statuses of the return.
Okay.
So then you want to go to close returns and replacements. When you click on that, you'll see all the ones that like done deal.
Okay. What does replacements mean?
I don't know.
Okay.
So mainly the part that I was interested in was close returns.
Okay.
And when you go, oh, well, there's that pair of pants. Over in the actions button, that's to the left of the pants, you click on it. All it's going to do is take you back to kind of show you the history of what happened with this pair of pants. It's not
a
relist.
What I want to do with this. Okay.
Yeah. And there is no relist button. So what you need to do is just go over and click on the title. So you have action over here, you've got a picture, and then the title is next to it to the right of the picture, and you click on the title of the pants. And when you click on the title, then if you look over, there's a couple things, different things options it tells you about over on the left-hand side, and one of them is relist. So a recommendation would be that if you have an item that's not as described and you refund somebody back, that before you forget about it, go find it and go through these steps. And then when you hit the relist button, what you can do is like, oh, well, I need to add another picture, or I need to change a dimension, or alter something in the title.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have time to do it right then just go down the bottom and say save later. Now it's going to be in your drafts.
Okay.
And now you'll know, where you can easily find it. Or if it was a simple fix, you can just, click on whatever you need to fix and then hit relist and you're good to go.
But you can't hit relist until you've done the refund, right?
Yeah, you got to do the refund first.
Okay.
Maybe going through that. So remember, under sell, you got orders, returns. You're going to go to closed returns. And then you might want to go through that list and see if, I never relisted that one.
Oh.
Sometimes when eBay fails, you might not be paying attention, and it might have failed to relist in your mind. You think it relisted it.
And it's in your inventory and not listed.
But it's not listed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that there's a small possibility that because this return was not as described, even though it was a color issue, and if I had the ability, I would pull up the listing so you could look at the pictures. But even though it was just a color issue, nothing else, specifically me, I'm not going to say I'm colorblind. I just color struggle.
Well, yeah, but there's also so many different shades of every color out there.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a true brown or true black or true blue that doesn't have other color variations in it?
Yeah, and
It's a spectrum.
Yeah, when you get into lighting and everything else, that can make it look a little bit more like this,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit more like that. And so one of the things you should really consider doing, if it's a scenario where you're having a hard time, and this is clothes related, so I'm sure it applies to other things, but if you're like, I don't know if this is navy blue, this could be a super dark navy blue. This could be black. This could be like jet dark black brown, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It could be as dark gray as you could possibly think of. If you can't tell for sure, then you better cover yourself. And inside your listing, you better say something like, it appears to me that it is XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason that the buyer used something against us is there was a tiny little tag. And this is super rare, so you're not going to find this very often. But
Mm-hmm.
it said the color name. But the color name, go to Sherwin-Williams. Color name means, only something to the manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't say, it should just say what color it is.
Yeah.
Instead of making up a name.
Mm-hmm.
So and we're not going to say what that is, because that would maybe
Mess
factor
up
in.
anybody's guess.
So
But we had this issue kind of earlier this morning where, because we list a lot of men's, we call them, or in the past I've always called them khakis, but chino style pants that are any variation of beige, tan, light brown, taupe, like there's just a spectrum of anywhere from stone or beige to brown. And there's just this spectrum, and like there's so many variations of what I in the past would have just called khaki.
Yeah, and that, there's just so much that can get you in trouble. I struggle, when it's like, we know We know this is a black pair of pants. Then when I go down and I'm doing the description, black. I just choose black, and we're done. But we had a pair of pants that probably you and I looked at it and said, well, these are taupe. Well, what does taupe mean to you? That's the problem.
Uh-huh.
So I often struggle because I'm like this. When I say green, I mean this in my head. This is because we just did some green pants. They were green. They were not taupe. They were green. But taupe is not an option in the drop-down menu. So
No.
you have to add it in. So then
Well, neither is tan. So tan or taupe or khaki.
so then you're opening yourself up to, well, my opinion was, and somebody else's opinion could say, you didn't say it was green, you said it was taupe. I don't think it's taupe. Then I'm burnt, So I would say that's a big struggle with clothing for me specifically, because there's certain colors that I'm like, I don't know, especially, if the lighting's bad or whatever, I've got no clue for sure. And so struggle, and I would say any way possible that you can cover yourself, make sure that you say, well, this is it's in the green category. I would call it taupe, but, you might call it something else. Do whatever you have to do, because you don't want to give somebody ammunition for a not as described, because these are a great pair of brand new pants with the tags.
That just got returned.
Yeah, and I am a conspiracy theorist in the fact that I think that this right here might have had something to do with killing our store for a week.
Maybe.
So, ironically,
And maybe
we were
it's
rocking
July.
and rolling until this,
Yeah.
and then
That's
bam.
true.
So, but that's my return story. Thank the Lord, we do not have any returns active or
Okay.
coming or nothing. So.